Hello, and welcome to another episode of Shampoo and Booze. This is episode number 35 at shampooandbooze.com.
Okay, this episode podcast is going to be titled How to Get Good Reviews on Airbnb.
Great.
It's going to be great.
I would love to know how.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Okay. In all seriousness, okay, we all know getting good is reviews are important. Why is that? Okay, let's talk about our own experience on Airbnb. When
Yes.
I'm looking for one, like we go to Ireland in September.
Yes.
And we're going to stay for 2.5 weeks. And we're going to rent a car and just drive around and stay in Airbnbs.
Right.
That's the plan. We've been kind of looking to see what's available. It seems like it's cool. Like there's all these little country Irish farms that have little cottages, and they're cheap.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So anyway, cool. I always read what people say about
You're really good at that.
Always.
I just look at pictures. I'm just looking at pictures.
See, pictures means you're trusting the host. But if you read the reviews, then you really figure it out.
Yeah.
And, the reason why I do that is because as many people that stay in these places in the reviews, they tell you specific issues that are important,
Yeah.
They'll talk maybe about how the kitchen is or how the Wi-Fi or how quick the host was to help them.
Right. All the things we want to know.
Things like, is the house actually private?
Right.
Or is it just like a back house, like right behind the actual house, but in the photos they've cropped it out or they've taken photos of it where you can't really tell.
Yeah.
I mean,
we had that experience.
We stayed in Austin once and I thought I was renting a house.
Right.
And we show up and there's the main house. And it's a garage right next to the house.
I mean, it was a redone carriage house, so it was an apartment, but like her entrance to the house was right next to our entrance.
Like when we would walk into our front door, her back door where she comes in and out was
right there,
5 feet away.
Yeah.
So, and she was nice enough and it was fine. But my expectations was, not that it would be like that.
Right.
And there was a big picture, a window, and when we looked out, we saw her just come and go. It was just like we could watch her life. And so, I definitely wrote in my review, great house, just be prepared.
Right.
It's actually not a private home.
Right. It's a carriage house, yeah.
The other things too is just, hear about Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
How's it's Wi-Fi? Or was there anything to cook with? Sometimes people say, like, it was fine, but there were no pots and pans.
Right, which is a problem.
Right. The other thing I look for, too, especially when we're in, like, urban areas, I look for, is this an actual, like, personal Airbnb? Or is it, like, a guy that's in charge of 80 Airbnbs, and it's like you're staying in a hotel, and I'm just going to meet some, like, guy who's getting paid $8 an hour to show me around.
Exactly.
People write that in there too.
Absolutely. Yep. And we've stayed at places like that before a couple times.
Right. So that's why getting good is reviews are important and people willing to, not have to say things that you either weren't aware that you needed to say in your description.
Right.
Or you were hoping people wouldn't
care.
It's noticed.
Right. Exactly. Right. So part of it is expectations. Like, if someone has a bare bones kitchen that you can't cook in, they should say that, because some people don't care.
One time we stayed in Amsterdam.
Yes.
I just wanted it as cheap as possible.
Right.
And we found a really cheap apartment where we got the whole apartment cheap.
Yeah.
But we kind of knew going in that it was going to be pretty bare bones and it's messy.
Right. Like a crash pad.
Right, because and they were very upfront about it. Like, we live here, but
our stuff's everywhere.
Right, but it's open when we're gone. Come and rent it. So our expectations kind of had been met.
Right.
A messy place.
Yeah.
Cheap as dirt. It was great.
It was fine.
Right.
Because we expected that.
But again, we've stayed in other places. We had gone to Amsterdam the year afterwards and stayed in a place.
Right.
it was equally as cheap, but the photos and the description made it seem nicer than it actually was.
Yeah.
And when we showed up there, we realized it didn't have a private kitchen. It didn't have a private bathroom.
Like we share the bathroom.
Right. So, again, I personally have never left a bad, 1 star,
Yeah.
But what I do is, again, I telegraph to the next people what to expect.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's smart for you to do that. You have no fear of doing that. Which is good.
Well,
It's not a bad review, but it is just, pointing things out.
Now I will say too, I'm sure other hosts do this as well. We read the reviews of other rentals in this area.
Yes.
Because we want to see,
Well, I want to see if I'm missing something that they're missing too. If someone was looking for something, they didn't have, like we always say, enough kitchen stuff.
Right.
We make sure we do.
But something I realized though is that, most people leave 5 stars.
Yep.
And say good things.
Yep.
It's almost like that's the default, especially for Americans. I've heard other cultures, they don't give 5 stars because they think 5 stars is like the tremendous, and 3 stars is just, it was great,
It was good.
But I think Americans are definitely like, it's going to be 5 stars unless you really do something that makes them angry.
That it's
or makes them feel like they're getting
ripped off.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I think that's a good thing, that people, Americans especially, are coming in wanting to like the place.
Right. They have good expectations.
Right. And so you have to really be doing something wrong to get under a 5 star.
Right. And some places do. Some places certainly do, but
right.
But I think also, a lot of times, too, for Airbnb, hosts really know that those stars make a huge difference. It's not like with other places where there might just be, a whole bunch of reviews. It's I don't know if VRBO has star rating or not. I have to check that.
You can leave a star rating for the person that stays. I don't know if they can...
Do it for the house? I don't think so.
I don't know. We don't know as much about VRBO.
I know, even though we're on it, but...
Yeah. But, and also, I don't really know about the Airbnb search engine, but I assume that part of that a search engine is,
star-based.
They push people up that have, higher stars and are super hosts and all that.
Exactly.
So that's obviously a good thing, too.
Yeah.
So, how do you actually get good edge reviews? Well... it's like we said, make the right expectations.
Right.
If there's a problem or quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes here, problem with it's your place, just be upfront about it.
Right.
I have a noisy neighbor, or I have a dog that may bark. I have a young child who's going to make noise.
Right.
It's good to just be honest about that stuff.
Because there are a lot of people who are great. Good to know.
Right.
That's all I needed to know, that you were aware of that enough to tell me.
Right.
It's different when you're not aware enough to tell people about that, because then people are figuring it out on their own. Oh, I wish I had known that.
When we stayed in Bend, Oregon, and we stayed in the basement of some people's houses.
That was Bellingham.
Sorry, Bellingham.
Yeah.
We stayed in the basement of some people's houses. Very nice people.
Yep.
But every morning, you could hear everyone's waking up. The parents, they had a kid, and they had wood floors, so you can hear people stomping around, and kids,
and they had a dog
crying and yelling, and it was fine. We had to be up early anyway.
Yeah,
but, it's something that you should probably tell people.
Yeah, you can hear us when we wake up in the morning.
Yeah, and then the other thing obviously is just having a nice place. So I think we all know what people expect. But then these are specific things that we do to ensure, in my opinion, we get good star edge ratings. And this is it. As soon as people check out and we go over to the house, we do a tour.
We do a walkthrough.
Yeah, to make sure everything's cool. It's most times, it always is. It's write them immediately and thank them. So it's within, 5 hours of them checking out.
Yeah.
It's receive an Airbnb a message where I just say thank them,
And what language do you use? Thanks for leaving the house so clean.
Yep,
if
thanks.
they did.
Exactly. I mean, it's most people.
Most people do.
I mean, honestly, even if it's dirty, I say thanks anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks for keeping it tidy.
Yeah.
Hope that you had a good time.
Right.
And then I say this. I say, I'm going to leave you a good review.
Yeah.
So future hosts know to treat them right.
Because that is the point of a review.
Telegraphing to them that when I leave that and they get a message from our Airbnb that says Jay and Ryan have left you a review, they know it's going to be good.
Right. So then you want them to leave a good review too. Basically, you're prompting them, hey, we're leaving you a great review.
So I think, we've been in business for a year and a half. I think we have 68
Wow, that many?
Yep.
Well, that's pretty good.
I think only 3 people have never
left reviews.
Just didn't say anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's
about 3.
Pretty good.
I think some people don't realize how important reviews are for people. It's like, oh, we left. And...
I mean, one guy, just wrote back and apologized and said, I didn't want to leave one because I don't want people to know where where
I've stayed and stuff. It was like a privacy thing for him. That's interesting.
I've had other people say, actually, a girl just about a month ago said, oh, I didn't know that I could leave one for it's you.
Oh, it was...
she just didn't understand.
She didn't understand Airbnb. Right. She was new to it. Yeah. That's funny.
So I think that's, a good way to, make sure that they're going to, number one, actually it's write something about you, and number 2 they're going to write something good. Because if they know I'm going to leave something good, they're probably going to leave something good.
And we've never had an issue where we went to the house and we were like, oh my god. I mean, there have been people where you're like, yeah, it was a little more messy than normal just because they left stuff out or they didn't put pillows away and the guest pillows, stuff like that, where you're like, that's really not that bad.
I also think it's good too to write people as soon as they check out or as soon as possible, just to see if there is a problem. So,
if they did have a problem that they didn't communicate yet.
Because there's been a couple times when I've had someone, I kind of, it's my thing, thanks for being clean, blah, blah, blah. Then they write back and say, you know what, I did have a problem with a vent. There's a vent above our bed and it's blowing hot air.
Right.
And then I can say, you know what, we're going to fix that.
Thank you for telling us.
No problem.
Yeah.
And then they leave a review and they don't actually put that in there because we've already addressed it.
Right. Well, it's actually, that's good because a lot of times when we've heard about an issue, we absolutely do fix it. And I always don't want people to feel bad about telling us about issues because I feel like some people might feel like, oh, there wasn't a problem before, you must have broken it. As if we were going to say something like that. Well,
back when we first started, I would actually write people like I do now. But then I would add a thing that said, if there's anything we can do to make it better, tell me.
Tell us.
I stopped doing that because I started feeling like I'm feeling people might need to think of something.
Right.
Start nitpicking.
Yeah.
When I don't really need them to nitpick.
I remember a couple people were nitpicky just about what spices we had or something just random things that were like, it reminds me of the lady who said she wanted a bread knife. And then the next time we went to the house, we were like, and we ordered a new one, a fancier one, a better one. We're like, yeah, we're going to get a bread knife. And then we're like, well, we already have a bread knife. I don't know if she didn't like our bread knife or she didn't know this was a bread knife. It was, it's things like that where you're like, oh, I guess we didn't need to do that, but now we have a fancy bread knife.
Yeah.
And
I think for me, the reason why it's also so important to message people right after they check out is because we've stayed in places where as soon as we check out, it is silence. We never hear from the host.
Which I think is kind of rude.
Again. Right.
I mean, we stayed at one place, right? And it was right as Hurricane Sandy was happening, and it was in Virginia Beach. And I was like, hey, we left a little bit early because of the storm. I hope everything's okay. Never heard anything from them. I'm like...
They didn't leave a
review.
Yep.
They didn't, say thanks. have a safe trip. You're like, that's so weird to
Yeah,
me.
and there are people too where like that could have been a place that we might have gone back to because we actually just had gone there just for like a fun,
like a vacation weekend.
So it felt like, well, I don't want to go back there. Because...
Yeah, and actually, if you think about it, I did leave them a good review because I was like, I liked their place, whatever. But that could totally have been one of those things where you're like, these people were rude and they did not care we were at their house.
I find most hosts that don't get back to us though are in urban areas, where they have such turnover.
Yes,
they have so many people. They have no problem booking. Like they're not. And just it's probably like everyone has probably the same face. It's just like it's like faceless people coming in and out that they don't find it's necessary to follow up
to do the hospitality thing.
Right.
Well, but you know what? That's unfortunate because like that's the whole point that Airbnb tries to push is like it's hospitality. It's not just like Motel 6 here. It shouldn't be like that.
But the reason why that's a problem, though, is that if you do just do the silent method after people check out, then you give people more of an opportunity to like start stepping back, and they can still
criticizing things.
Both the host and the guest have 14 days to leave a review, and then both can see each other's
after
thing.
that.
But if one person doesn't do it, the other person's still going to get posted.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like one...
Right.
Like, both people have to put it up for them both to be seen.
Right, that's not true.
Right. So, you're giving people this opportunity to kind of step back, and if you don't want to talk to them, then they might start, let me write something...
Yeah, like that was... Like, look, we stayed somewhere during our last trip in one of the cities we were in, and the host lady, like... She barely talked to us. Like, she talked to us a little bit on the thing, and then we tried to say goodbye to them in person, and they were just, like, not paying attention to us. And we were like, that's kind of rude. Like, I get it that someone's probably coming in, like, a couple hours to replace us, but it didn't feel, like, very welcoming. It just felt like they were just like, whatever, you're just the next people.
And I get it. There might be some people hearing this, especially in urban areas where, again, you're fully booked. You have no problem attracting anyone. The only reason why it matters is you probably don't want bad stars or reviews that might say something poorly about your place, because that can affect your search.
Yes,
its ranking.
That is a big deal, and it'll affect your search ranking, and it'll affect whether people want to stay with you or not. I mean, that affects your business in so many ways.
And this is the last thing I think I have to say about this. Because we have, 5 stars, super hosts and all that, I feel better about charging at the top end of the market. If for some reason we, just didn't care about all that stuff and we had like 3 stars,
oh God, that'd be horrible.
I would feel not as confident charging what we do.
Right.
Yeah, period.
Yeah, I mean, because...
And people probably wouldn't want to pay.
They wouldn't pay, and they would read our reviews and see how poor it was. And it's just a cycle, one big, connected
cycle.
So,
even if you think, you're in a busy place, so it doesn't matter because people are going to book anyway, I don't know, I feel like that could be challenged if you started getting a lower star ratings and you're trying to charge more,
Look, and that's not to say that you won't have, this is similar to our eBay business, that you won't have someone who's super picky, super spoiled. You could bend over backwards and make sure everything is perfect for them. You fix this, you fix that, you gave them extra blankets and pillows, everything they asked for, and they still might not be okay. That might happen, and they might just, could happen.
Some of you might contact us and say, well, there are these people who there's nothing I could do help them. And we get that.
Yeah.
There will always be grumpy people.
Yes.
Like we talked about it before. We also sell things on eBay.
Right.
And you can do everything, and you just get a person who, like, they're in some period of their life where they're mad at, they're getting a separation from a marriage, they're mad at their child, they're mad at their boss, and you just happen to be in their line of sight, and they just, dump it all on you. We get that.
Yeah.
But there's many things you can do to, absorb that and and not have it turn into a bad thing.
Right. Exactly.
And that being said, those of you who are on Airbnb, you probably saw that they have a quarterly system where they make where they tell you if you're a superhost.
Right. So what is a superhost exactly? Like, what's the criteria? Do you know?
All right. So Ryan, that's a very good question.
Thank you.
So this is how you become a superhost. It's done every quarter.
Yes.
So you need to have a certain amount of completed trips. I actually don't know. I think it might be 10.
10 in the quarter.
Yeah. 10 in the quarter.
Okay.
Or 10 in a year.
Huh.
I don't know about that part. So you have to have, I think, you have to have 80% of your reviews have to be 5 stars.
Okay.
So it's not all of them.
Yeah, that's not bad.
80% of those ones.
Yeah.
The commitment rate has to be 100%.
Meaning you didn't cancel anyone.
So if you've accepted a person and you've confirmed it, you can't cancel.
Okay.
Even one time.
Okay.
And then its response rate is anyone that sends you a message, you have to answer within 24 hours 90% of the time.
Okay.
I mean, that's pretty generous,
That's generous. I mean, totally.
So, I mean, I think the bar is actually relatively low. You know? I mean, 5 stars, we've talked about that. In my opinion, especially Americans, they want to give you 5 stars.
Yeah.
So it's almost like if you have to do something really bad to not get 5 stars. The commitment rate, I mean, don't accept people if you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
We one time were going to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And I tried to book an Airbnb before we left, and I booked it, blah, 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 and then he canceled.
Right.
Like 3 weeks before
I think he even tried to get us to cancel it.
Right,
so
and he was smart. He was pretty sneaky. He was trying to tell us, well, there's a problem. I need you guys to cancel it.
But we understand how that works, where we're
and I was telling him, I don't want to cancel it.
Yeah, I want your place.
Yeah, and or I'll cancel it if you give me a deal on these other days that we are willing to change it to. And he wouldn't do that. And I said, okay.
I'm not canceling.
We're coming.
Because we know that we would get charged a fee.
Well, and he knows that he gets,
he gets charged a fee,
penalized.
Yeah.
So he did cancel it. Anyway, so the point is though, don't cancel things like and we're good. We have our calendar. We always check just to see we're set, and we also know that we have a backup if we aren't here.
Right.
So we have a friend that can take over.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then its response rate, I mean, to me, that's really the no-brainer. I mean, if it takes you longer than 24 hours to answer a message,
I mean, yeah.
I feel like it's not a serious business for you. I mean, especially with the app on the phone.
On the phone. You got to hear that app all the time.
I love hearing that it's noise.
Yeah.
I mean, we always answer it's within half an hour.
Yeah.
If not quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel, too, that we get a lot more it's bookings because we answer quickly.
I mean, look, we've been on the other side of that. You're a guest looking for a place and you have certain questions and you want to book and they're not getting back to you and you're like, I need to book this today.
Right. I mean, this has happened to me several times.
Right.
I sit there. There's 5 places that look good.
Right.
But it's questions about.
Yeah.
It's maybe all of them.
Right.
I do a question to each person.
Yeah.
And basically, I'm gonna book that day.
Whoever gets back to me first.
Whoever gets back to me, and it seems like it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'll go for it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So anyway, and the other thing I just want to say about this Superhost, I mean, in a way, it's a little bit silly. I kind of wish that they would give you something more. Currently it's a badge, and I guess it bumps you up in a ranking, which is good.
Right, and that's good. What you really want is you want a discount on fees. That's what you want as a superhost. You want a discount.
I find that the Airbnb fees are really cheap.
No, the fees are cheap, but so what else would you want besides a badge and search ranking?
Well, there's two things in there. I think their fees are cheap because they're still in the expansion mode.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 3.5% or
Yeah.
something. I mean, it's something really stupid. I feel like when they go public and it becomes a real company, we're going to see that bump up.
Yeah.
So fees don't bother me right now. I would love to get like a free night stay.
Like incentives.
Or, I don't know. Just, like, give me something more for, like, going out of my way to...
Right.
Make this happen.
Right. I agree.
I feel like they used to do that where if you were a superhost for a whole 12 a month, so it's 4 quarters, that they would give you a free night stay.
Somewhere, yeah.
But I don't see that anymore.
They're like, forget that.
Okay. Sorry, I take that back. This is what you get when you're a superhost. Did you get that? It's profile badge. It's like a medal, and I don't know if people look for that or not, and it's there. They also do give you a travel coupon if you're a superhost for a year. And that's $100.
Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah. That is kind of like one night stay if you get $100 place.
And actually, we got one because we were superhosts for 12 months. So when we go to Ireland, we'll get like a free night stay.
Oh, that is cool.
They also, in this, we've never had to use it, but I guess it'd be cool. Priority support. So I guess there's a special phone line.
Huh.
So maybe they have like dedicated customer service people. If
that is good.
A problem,
right?
And then they give you product exclusives, which I guess
I've seen a couple of those.
I guess just means like if people have some new technology that they'll. But I feel like I don't really need that.
Yeah,
I want more travel coupons.
Yeah, give me more travel stuff for sure.
Okay, so that's that's our shtick on feedback and all that. I mean, a lot of it's just kind of common sense.
Sure.
But that's kind of going back to what we've always talked about. I think when you have a place for a rental, like on Airbnb or any of these other services, it's not like a rental where you're just giving people keys and walking away.
Right.
It really is kind of hospitality.
Yeah.
And there are some people that want to feel like they're having a conversation. It's with a real person and not just staying in some... It's just like a hotel, where it's kind of impersonal.
Yeah. I think it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference to feel like people care about you, You know
what? That's a great segue into our most recent guest.
Yes.
So we had a family come and stay, and they stayed for 3 nights. It was great. They booked right in the middle of the week.
Last minute. They booked last minute. They were on a road trip.
Our favorite kind of people. We actually ended up not actually even meeting them. We allowed them to self-check-in because they were on a road trip and they didn't know when they would arrive.
Yeah.
And we've been experimenting with just giving people our door code. And then I've written out kind of... It's like a small...
Basically a tour, but on, in text.
Yeah. Exactly. The tour I normally give people, I do it in text so people know what to expect. So we didn't even meet this guy, but I mean, to his credit, I think he felt like he got the personal touch.
Right, because you were communicating with him the whole time.
And we were at home watching a movie one night.
Yeah.
And so he sent us a message on Airbnb and like, hey, you know what? I made your Wi-Fi better.
Yeah.
He was like, your Wi-Fi wasn't working the way I wanted it to work. So he's like a tech guy, and he said that he, changed the TVs and changed the Wi-Fi box and made it to where everything was faster.
Yeah, he kind of went in and changed some settings in Netflix, which was really helpful. Just stuff that I'm like we're pretty techie, but I'm not
building a Wi-Fi is network.
I'm not a
really
network
geeky.
person.
Right.
I mean, I am nerdier than a lot of people. Like, I can go into the modem and change things and stuff, but he was like, I made it faster and better, and we actually tested it yesterday, and we're like, this is a lot better.
Well, I mean, it's cool. We were then going back and forth on Airbnb. He was...
Yeah.
We were sending him questions about what he did, and then he suggested this different Wi-Fi box, and I asked him some questions about that. So,
yeah.
I mean, and I think this is why it worked that way, even without us meeting him. Number one is I think he obviously looked at our Airbnb as profile. He
Right.
saw our photos, and we have a pretty good bio there. I find a lot of people don't. It's right
Have
about
any-
who they are,
yeah.
and I think he immediately saw that we were like him,
We were like tech nerds.
youngish.
Yeah.
Not youngish.
Youngish.
Tech people.
Yeah.
So he saw that we were just, common people like him.
Yeah.
And he could talk to us in that way.
Right.
And he could, I think, because too, when they were checking in, we were just going back and forth. I always try to make sure people are good to go.
Yeah.
He felt that we were the kind of people that would be open to improvements.
Right, exactly. So that was really helpful. And he was telling us, like, okay, you can do a speed test like this, and this is how you should really do it to really test it out. And we're like, okay, we're going to try that over there.
And it's great. And again, I did the thing where they checked out, didn't meet him. I said, thanks. Place was super clean.
Look, I think they cleaned before they left, because I was like, this place is so clean that, like, I don't even have to clean this, X thing that I usually clean.
It used like 2 towels or something.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And then he just it drove back, and we talked a bit more, and he's going to give us good feedback.
Yeah,
so,
that's great.
That's I think the kind of experience people are looking for.
Right,
where they feel like they're in a cool place, feels like home. And they can talk to you like you're a normal person.
And the other thing, too, is last night, so they checked out early, and the next people coming were driving from New York City after work. So they were like, we're not going to get there till midnight. So obviously that's another self-check-in situation. But the great thing is that you said, you can call us anytime, even if it's past midnight. If you need something, if you have a question. So... I'm not answering that call because I'm going to be dead asleep. But it's good that you said that, and you noted that you're like, look, if I were staying at someone's house and I had a question or I had a problem and it was
showing up really late.
But that's just what we had to do.
I would feel like I would be like
being rude.
I would be
something.
Pausing, like, should I call? It's like late, but I just wanted.
But you gave them the opportunity, like, look, call. Like, this is our business. This is our job.
Yeah,
it's fine. You know, and I think that's good. I wouldn't have thought to do that. That's why you talk to people, because because I'm like an eBay person with my messages. I'm very straightforward and to the point, and so it's different. It's a different mentality. It's not eBay's not hospitality.
Honestly, I never thought that I would be enjoying what it's doing here.
Yeah,
but it's fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
Okay, so our continuing adventures of our second it's rental that we have bought, and it's renovating, or we are not actually it's renovating the house quite yet.
Sort of.
It has it's metal. Roof on it.
Yes.
And now we're doing a driveway. It's been raining here a lot, so the work has been slow, but we did go over there. And the cool thing is, we own lots of land, and the house is on one lot.
Yeah.
And then the second lot was just kind of just trees and bushes and shrubs.
Yeah.
So our guy came and he brought his bulldozer thing. He's now cut down any tree that was in the way and cleared it. And so it's like a nice clear piece of land.
It's actually, once you clear land like that, you're like, wow, this lot is huge. Right. It doesn't seem like it.
2 good things from that. Number one is, it's a nice piece of land now.
Yeah.
And he'll be able to do the driveway, and he's got plenty of room to, do a turn so it's not too steep.
Yeah.
The other thing is, so he did have to cut some trees down. I'm going to split all that wood, and that's going to be our firewood.
Yeah.
Because we actually heat our home with a wood stove.
Right. So that's really helpful.
Exclusively, so it's going to be great.
Yeah, that was really good.
And how big are those lots? Like quarter of an acre? Yeah, so it's cool. We've now cleared out, and we have an extra quarter
acre. Yeah,
and it's going to be nice.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So definitely a slow process, but it's due to the weather.
Yeah,
it's due to. This is one guy working. This is not a crew of guys. This is one guy working.
Yep.
And it's basically his hobby. So it's like, just gotta wait.
Yep. Okay, so our numbers for 2016. Since is last week, we had someone book 4 more nights.
Yay!
So it's good. So now we're up to 178 nights in 2016 that have been booked.
The goal is 200 nights.
My guess is so the person that booked those 4 nights, they're in September.
Right.
So people are actually, our August is almost fully booked. So there's really not much more in the summertime that we can actually book.
Yeah.
Because it's already booked up.
Right.
There's some nights here and there. So now it's more about the fall.
Yeah.
And some people are actually starting to think about the fall.
Right.
And booking those nights. So, we still have September, October, November, December, 4 of those. Some of those months don't have anyone yet.
Right.
So I think we'll probably get to 215. I think we'll book 215 nights.
That's his prediction.
Out of the month.
Yeah, out of the year.
Out of 2016.
Interesting. That's interesting.
That's my guess.
Cool.
Yep.
I would love to see what we get up to.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be cool to meet that. It'd be cool to go over it.
I mean, when we first thought about getting a rental, I was trying to think, okay, how much do we need to make to cover expenses and feel like it's good for us? I was thinking $20,000.
Right.
And so it looks like we're going to make over $40,000.
Right. I mean, it was,
so it's done much better for us than we had imagined.
Right.
I mean, obviously no guarantee.
Yeah, sure.
Economy crashes, all those things.
Yeah.
But for right now, it's better than we thought it
absolutely
could be.
Yep.
And that's why we've decided to go and double up and do
a second one.
A second one.
Totally.
Okay. We always end with what renters left behind.
Now, we had a couple renters, so I have to remember what the people before these people left, but I can't really remember.
They didn't leave much.
Not much. Yeah.
Like some condiments.
Oh, they left a big thing of grape juice and
that's right.
condiments.
Someone left a half of it's water.
A watermelon, yeah.
And that was delicious.
Jay loves watermelon.
It was seedless. It was like a half. And so I was
you're so excited.
So delicious.
Yesterday, though, we walked in and there was a couple scoops of mint chocolate chip ice cream, which is your favorite. And a little box of chocolates, and there was one chocolate left.
So it was kind of nice. Before we started to clean,
we had a little snack.
We took a break and we had a little treat.
That was funny. And look, they left the house practically spotless. I was like, whoa. Yeah, that was really nice.
But it's interesting, even when it's really clean. It's not spotless, but it's clean. It still kind of takes us almost about the same time.
Because we do the same process. Right. I still have to change all the sheets. I still have to gather all the towels. There weren't that many towels,
downstairs, I still wipe everything down. I still wipe out the sink, wipe the tables, wipe the stove.
We're not cleaning things that aren't dirty. I'm not going to see something and be like, that's not dirty. I'll clean it anyway. But, with the bathroom, I'm still cleaning everything. I'm not doing a deep scrub, but...
Right.
I'm still going to touch everything and clean it. Well, look, and because I knew we'd have extra time, they left early. The next people were late. We had a good buffer. I changed out the shower curtain. I changed out the chair covers in the kitchen. It's things like that you're like, we have a little extra time, so I'll fill it with the other things that I always am trying to want to do but don't have time.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I love it when people leave. Look, I do want to make note of this. We have started telling people on checkout that we like it for them to do the dishes.
Yeah, that's the one thing. There were a couple people who didn't, I would just say, just don't do anything. It's like a hotel. We'll clean.
Right.
But in a hotel, most of them don't have a kitchen sink. And some people were like, they would eat, it's breakfast that morning, and they would just put all the, things there. And that takes a bit of time. So that's the one thing I asked them to do is just clean anything in the sink.
Right.
We'll take care of everything else. And everyone's like, absolutely.
I think it's good because people understand that we clean the house and that saves us time. And honestly, I feel like that keeps us from having some high cleaning fee because it just takes us less time to clean, And
it reminded me. So we met another cleaner.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We didn't even mention
we actually went to our Chamber of Commerce, and there was a woman that has a cleaning company, a local. It's basically just like a woman and her mom and
her sister.
Her sister.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so we coordinated, and she came over when we were cleaning one day.
Yeah.
She's really nice, and she talked about the cabins that she cleaned.
She was good about talking. She was more professional, where she was like, I really like these people. This is the type of work I've done.
We agreed that we're trying to pick a day where she's free and we have a day when we're cleaning. We want her to come and clean with us. Yeah. So we'll be at cleaning. She'll help us. We'll pay her.
Right.
And so she can see what we do and how we like things to look.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
Because I think that's important.
I think it's important. I want to show her, like, you got to check this thing. This is where the soap refills are. I mean, it's silly, but
and we're still so we asked her how much, and she actually gave us a price. Like, it was good. She was like $70.
Right, $70 each time.
So right now we're charging $25 on Airbnb for a cleaning fee. So the question is, do we bump up our cleaning fee?
Right.
Do we just eat it? Just cost of doing business, because we aren't really sure exactly how we would use her. The idea is that there might be some days where we would rather be at home and doing our other kind of work
and not be interrupted by cleaning.
Because if we have to clean, it kind of can either break up a day or even take up a whole day, because depending on the timing.
Right.
So if we had her, it would be worth $50. Like, the work we do at home would easily make us $50 to pay.
And it wouldn't be every time. I feel like, if you charge a cleaning fee, 4 times and she only cleans 1 out of those 4 times, well, that's helping pay for her for that one time.
I like the way you think.
That's how I'm thinking of it. Because there are times where we're like, it's fine, it's a Sunday, we'll do it, and
I think, too, it's just important for us, if we're going to do this business, like, we need backup.
We need backup.
Like, just in case something had happened and like, I broke my arm or something,
right. Or I need to go to some meeting and I can't clean, or I have to go to a meeting, but you can clean, so you'll clean with her. And
plus, we've been thinking, when we have 2 places to rent, like, we're just not going to, we don't want this to be a full-time job for us.
Right.
We kind of like, it's semi-passive, and we like that, and we wanted to keep it that way.
Right.
So
I think we'll have a good balance between. Also, look, you want to hire someone and slowly bring them into it. I feel like I want to start to trust her, and then heck, in like 3 months, we might be like, she's cleaning all the time. We don't want to do it at all.
Maybe.
But I want to make sure I trust her and she understands, what's what, and I'm sure she'll be fine. But you want to make sure she does it the way you want it done.
Yeah.
But
no, I totally agree with that.
That's all. Okay, so that's it for this week. You can check out the blog at shampooandbooze.com for the links we talk about and to join the conversation. You can always leave a question or a comment on something you heard, or what, tell us what you're doing. The phone number is 540-407-8486. We post an episode every Monday morning, and you can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube, so you always get the latest episode. You can listen to our other podcast where we talk about how we sell stuff online to fund our renovations and our Airbnb business on scavengerlife.com. Okay, bye.
See ya.